Well, going to Mars. Is it really such a good idea? Now, I know there's a bunch of people like, yeah, let's go to Mars. Yeah, it's amazing. Population and colonize beyond Earth and stuff. Uh, there's, there's a story that I created. I don't know, probably 2, 3 years ago. It's just a little short story, probably like 5, 10 minutes worth. But I'd like to rehash that and actually explore it a little bit more. Is in this article from space.com is that SpaceX's Mars colony plan, how Elon Musk plans to build a million-person Martian city. And there's one particular quote that I have all the way at the bottom here, is that there is a huge amount of risk. It is going to cost a lot, Musk wrote. There is a good chance we will not succeed, but we are going to do our best and try to make as much progress as possible. Now, I am not knocking or pushing down whatever progress Elon Musk has. I'm not saying that he's dumb, he's stupid, anything that he does with his companies is either right or wrong. I'm simply stating that there's this activity that I've usually found, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, is there's a lot of expression, or there's a lot of vocal support for seeking out new opportunities elsewhere and not fixing the problems that are there where you are. And I'm going to use more of a personal story, not to make myself the hero, but actually showcase how it's actually more convenient to let people rot, to let people wallow in their own feces. What is the word? It's not theoretically. As an analogy, you're trying to think of what that word is. As an analogy, to let people, accept the crap that's in their lives, and I can move on. For example, there's a lot of things that are happening in the city that I currently live in. During the whole Wu flu virus, my city was very okay with people wearing masks, or at least allowing businesses, the ones that were allowed open, to choose whether or not they wore masks or not. I think it is going to be on Wednesday, if I read the article correctly, that it is going to be a $1,000 fine if you, as a private citizen, regardless of whether or not you are as an employee or not, if you are outside without a mask, boom, $1,000 fine. And one of the biggest issues that I have with fixed dollar amounts, and I'm more going to preach right here because I've had personal issues with this. I've had 2 tickets, and I'm not. I claim responsibility for both. I was in the wrong when that happened. I accept that the tickets that I was given in a weekend. Well, actually, it was 2 weekends. One weekend and then the next weekend, because I think it was in the same weekend. Yeah, I was going to go see my father, and then I was coming back from seeing my father, and I got a ticket for 2 different reasons. One, I was just speeding over the speed limit. I was going over the speed limit, and the second one, that I was just driving recklessly, and I was so in the wrong for that one. I just got a little bit upset. I got really upset and tried to cut somebody off. I could have. Again, I was absolutely in the wrong on those. But the fixed amount prices tallied up to $700. If you have let's just say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 annual salary compared to somebody who has, let's just say, less than $20,000 annual salary. Who is more affected, the rich or the poor? The poor. You're punished for being broke. That's how I see it. And I'm very, $1,000 fine for not wearing a mask. Why don't you have you're going to fine you for a 0.01% of your monthly income. Why don't we have that? Again, it's like $1,000. Okay, if I'm broke, if I'm literally going paycheck to paycheck, how in the living hell am I able to pay off that ticket? I won't be able to, so I'll have a warrant for my arrest for being broke. It's really stupid. So one of those things of what rich people are allowed to do is that if the city is giving some really silly fines or making some silly rules, I don't have to play politics. I don't have to engage with the town. All I have to do is live within an apartment that's really nice, and if things are getting a little hairy, I can move. And that's what I kind of see, and that's what I see with the SpaceX Mars colony plan. We're going to space. We're leaving there. It's gonna be utopia. It's gonna be picture perfect. It's gonna be everything that we ever wanted to be because no one has ever been there. But the issue is that you're never going to escape evil. And yeah, I know I'm projecting here, and again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is that you will never escape evil because evil is within inside you. It's how you react to your environment. It's your values, your characters, your thoughts, your relationships, how you think and feel. All of those correlate, have a direct correlation to what is good and bad within life. Something bad happens, how do you respond to it? And it's like, yeah, we're going to create this magnificent utopia. And because we're changing our outside appearance, because we're changing our outside environment, because everything's going to be controlled up there in Mars, therefore, no one will be bad. Everybody will be intelligent, well-studied, but they're still going to be human with human values because we think and feel emotionally. We think emotionally. It's one thing, it's like, oh, I don't do anything bad. I think logically. Well, have you considered this, this, and this? No, I haven't. Why not? Because I wasn't aware of it? No, probably you just chose not to. Could that be a possibility? No, I accept everything, and ego comes into play. So, again, it's... one idea that I have is... let's do a red planet. Let's do fill. Solid color. Oh, let's do... yeah, right there. Okay. So, boom. And that's bright. Okay, so, boom, there's Mars. Wait, whoa. Wait a second, I just did something. Here we go. There we go. Boom, Mars. And now, stop it. What's going on? There we go. And then we have this blue planet with green in it. It's so beautiful. So we have little splotches of here's a continent. There we go. Here's a continent. Here's a continent. Bam. Look at all those stars. Okay, so we have Earth and we have Mars. And one of the biggest issues that I find is that we're trying to get into this spaceship, this idealized place with only the best of the best are going to go into space and then they're going to go somewhere else. But they still hold with them the things that are causing a bunch of issues. Values, disagreements, what should or should we not do? And if I disagree with you, whose authority should I be listening to? But what if you're wrong? Well, you have to listen to me. Ego gets into play. So we're always constantly fighting that. So it doesn't matter how far you go. It doesn't matter how much you think you know. When you bring another person into play, there could be no utopia you could go to. And that's what I see a lot with this one story idea that's not really being told that we can really dive into. That we could have a bunch of scientists. Let's see if I can do this color-wise. Select, transparent, rectangular, boom. So we have all the spaceship, the rockets. They go to Mars, and then they colonize. They start doing it, and they start building this utopia, this magnificent technological advancement. And everybody on Earth is now having not difficulty. Mind you, I'm not saying that there is a difficulty, but there is now a change in culture. Because Mars can now look, and they made 2 possible animes. I'm going to try to think of look one of them up. It's like Aldano. It's a Aldano anime. I might have that incredibly wrong. And also The Expanse. Yeah, Aldanoa.0. So let me go ahead and type that. So I'm not the first one to think about this, and it's actually a very well thought out idea, is that Aldanoa.0 is the anime. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Yeah, bam. So there's and The Expanse. These 2 stories I want to watch them all the way through again. I've watched this one anime probably like two, three, maybe four, but I think at least three times. It's a solid show. I mean, some of it's a little bit silly. The main character's a little dull, but he's dull enough to help other characters shine because we're not supposed to be really focusing on him. He's just really good at what he does, and everyone else is actually going through the struggles, so it's their story mostly. And then The Expanse, I've heard great things about it, but I couldn't get past the first 5-10 minutes. It just was so weird for me. But the whole story is that what if we created our own story? And that's one thing that I wanted to do is let's create our own story using this exact same model where there's a bunch of people that go into space and they are the best of the best, or maybe they take what with them because of the mess of the whatever mess is on the Earth right now. They want to go somewhere else. They want to go not to where Earth is. They think that Earth is a pitiful, pitiful place, and they want to go to somewhere where it's much, much better. So with that, one idea that I had is, well, if people were going to stay on Earth, people on Mars, we could probably put them into the background and have them as always have it where with a few characters on Earth. You could have it where, okay, let me go save. I was going to save, but I was going to do new. Yeah, let's do new. And then paint, fill. There we go. Put this as that. Okay. And we're going to do this, that, and this. Okay, good. Everything's the way I want. So, of creating like a monk, and one of the reasons is, if we were to start on Earth, I'm going through this idea because it's been a while since I've revisited the idea, but let's just take a basic person. So boom, we have a basic person. Boop. Look at this guy. He looks so weird. He's so weird. Oh, this would be cool animation though. So we have a regular guy who's trying to figure out the world, and maybe he has a family, maybe he has friends, maybe we have focus on probably like four men, 3 women. Maybe there 3 of them are related in some way, and maybe they're all friends. Maybe a few of them are strangers that they picked up. Maybe it's 20 years into the future. Let's go with that. 20 years after Mars, after separation. And they can call it the separatists, the separation, or the Great Divide. The years after the Great Divide, after the divide, after the division, the Ascension. Oh, the Ascension program. 20 years after the Ascension, you can make this into a Christian theme where it's the freaking A. I'm trying to think of what the name is. Where everybody. That is my phone. It's a weird notification sound. I don't want that. Why would you think I do? A Doctor Who sonic screwdriver. Or like, what? Why would you recommend me such a thing? Oh, that's weird. I don't even like Doctor Who. I'm not a fan. I haven't watched it. 20 years after the Ascension. And the Ascension program, the Ascension, I don't think I'm spelling it right. The Ascension. We'll go with that. No, let me see if I'm spelling it right. The Ascension. Oh, it's with an S. Okay. Whoops. The Ascension program. Okay. So we're gonna go copy. Paste. There we go. Okay, we're gonna not transparent. I know this is a little bit kind of on the dull side, but what we're going to do something a little bit better. Just want to make certain copy paste, and we're going to put this right here. So 20 years after the Ascension, there's an Ascension program, and maybe you could consider it to be maybe a private organization that dealt with a lot of subsidies. Maybe you could consider it to be SpaceX. And the Ascension program, they could probably have called maybe Stellar. That the company is called Stellar, and you could probably mimic or model the entire company after Elon Musk. And I think what would be really good is you don't consider Elon Musk either a hero or a villain. You actually see the multifacets of what someone in that position could be happening. So this guy, model after, we can bring that down to 22. Yeah, model after SpaceX and Elon Musk. So, yeah, seen as both hero and villain. So maybe he's a villain to everybody on Earth because he developed a program to get people to go onto Mars, but Elon, or at least this person, we could call him, not Stan, Elon, Stan. I'm trying to think of like Richard Rich, Picard, Dick, Mono. We'll call him Steve. for the moment, Steve, Al Harrington. We'll call him Al. Al Harrington. We'll call him Mr. Harrington. So Harry Harrington, Harry Adderall, Harry Adel. Idle. Harry Idle. Yeah, Harry Adel and his company. Oh, and her company. We're gonna change it up a little bit. So Harriet. Hopefully that's how you spell it. So Harriet and her company, Stellar. And the whole point is that Stellar, the company, has been established probably for 20, 30 years and has been just building up a little bit more and more power, unintentionally maybe harming other people or not really knowing the ramifications of taking subsidies and not of a company taking subsidies from the government that won't be paid back, that the output, the amount of productivity, the amount of results that we get from the company is legitimately like 10 to 1, 1 to 10, or no, 10 to 1. For every $10 that is invested into the company, there is an output of 1. So Harriet could be not somebody who's a villain, but somebody who's trying to just save her company. And she could probably be so focused on trying to save the company that she may not be aware of what's happening. That she wants to do good, but the whole point is that she just wants to build her system. That she is an innocent, really. That she has all that power, but she's been blinded to all the ramifications that has been happening from that. There's a bunch of money that could be diverted somewhere else, but she went to the government for those subsidies, and then it's just like, what are you doing? Well, we're going to go to space. And it's like, wow, let's do that. Why? Why are we going to space? There's nothing for it. The amount of people that can utilize the resources on Mars is absolutely zero, if not 1% of the technology that's developed to even get there. That can copy and paste and model in other different companies that other people around the world that can be using it. And that's one aspect that we could probably create. Maybe the first episode is Harriet trying to build this entire wonderful company, and it looks pristine and futuristic. Maybe it's like from the 22nd century. And maybe it is in the 22nd century, and that's where the technology actually is. That there's not much that has actually changed from here and there. There's a lot of people that stay at home. There's probably a lot less of people in the cities, and there's a lot more greenery all around the place. Maybe there's some riots here and there. Riots, not protests, but actual riots that are actually burning things and destroying things. And it's like, well, we want to push those people away. They're blasted on news. People are probably keeping themselves isolated in this 22nd century. It's pretty much like what it is now. I don't know how to view like a science fiction type of world, but you could have it where it's a little bit into the future from where we are right now, and they're actually able to, and have the technology to go to space. And maybe Harriet isn't in this fictitious world is the CEO that takes over of SpaceX and then renames. I don't want to do that. I don't want to tarnish. I want to base it off Elon Musk, but I don't want to tarnish his name or anything or where his directions actually go. I don't want to make this a history thing. I'm going to make this into just a model. So Harriet building her business. She's going into space, and then we're gonna have the Ascension program. Ascension program. Lucky 1,000 top tier people go to space permanently. Go to space permanently, and they're going to be up there. It's going to be someplace where 10,000 people. No. 1 million people. How about that? I know there's like a billion people on the planet, but 1 million people, top tier people, go to space permanently. They don't come back. And the issue with that is they would be maybe scientists or the unfortunate thing is like dignitaries. I don't know why dignitaries would have to go to space. I really don't. They're top tier because they have the title. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. But in the world, that's how it works. So we'll roll with that. So top dignitary, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 politicians, and it's like good riddance to them or something. Politicians, I don't know how to spell that, dignitaries or something, I don't know. Politicians, dignitaries, athletes for whatever reason. Celebrities, because why not? Celebrities, politicians, dignitaries, celebrities, scientists, because politicians, dignitaries, celebrities have connections and they have funds. That's one thing. And when you go into Mars, maybe there's a different type of program. Now here's the biggest question. Harriet might allow them to go because they're able to have their company funded by the politicians, dignitaries, celebrities. Let me actually spell the word dignitaries, because that just does not look right. I'm probably spelling that incredibly wrong. Dignitaries. I'm probably even pronouncing it wrong. Dignitaries. No, dignitaries is right. Yeah, a person who holds high rank or office. So a dignitary. Yeah, a dignitary. Somebody who's distinguished. So a politician, dignitary, celebrity, scientist, etc. So people who are incredibly powerful have those who have money, power, influence, or are intelligent. Yes. And from their intelligence, of all the people that are going to be going to Mars permanently, they may start or bring their families with them. Maybe a lucky 100 million. 100 million people. Okay? Because that seems a little bit more reasonable for people to be bringing their families and to take the best of the best and people, politicians, dignitaries, all that great stuff. And so on Earth, the people that are going to be left on Earth, who would be left on Earth? I'm not going to say that like poor people. Well, of course, poor people are going to be on Earth, but who in their right minds would? You see, how would that change? How would that? See, now I'm getting a little bit more into the complexity of how things would just change. Where I want to roll with the storyline and plot rather than trying to build the world. And I know it's incredibly important. In the morning, I go greater in detail. I create all my objectives, but here I just want to allow it to flow and see what comes up. Be a little bit more creative that way. But what if I actually created my objectives first? So what would be my objectives? Let me take this out. Boom. So if we were to, I love everything that we created here, but there we go. Just boom, right there. So what I want to create are the objectives. So creating the objectives for this world. What I want to create is a world. You see, I know this is going to take probably be a little bit more of a lull, a slow point in the video, but I'm taking in consideration of where do I want to go with this. Because I have this staunch rule for myself that I need to have the objectives before I actually create the thing. but I want to allow my mind to roam. So here's the thing. What if I created my objectives of the things that I want to create in this world? Because I've now brainstormed a lot of information, so I can now create the objectives of the type of world I want to create. So we'll go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go down to 18. So the objectives are creating a world where humanity splits. Yeah, creating a world where humanity splits. Those who think... Okay, let me just do this. Yeah, those who think they are the best go to space. The rest stay here. It's not chaotic, but the utopia that is sought after is rifled with evil, because evil is in the heart of man. So it's not chaotic. I knew what I meant by that. Oh man, this is a lot of thought process. I did a lot of stuff today. I did especially a lot of thinking in the morning. Oh, that's good water. It's not chaotic on Earth. Yeah, it's not chaotic on Earth. It's not chaotic on Earth. And the utopia that is sought after is rifled with evil, because evil is in the heart of man on Mars. So they divert their attention to all the evils and issues are on Earth, and now they're trying to go and collect the resources on Earth, and now it becomes a property rights issue. Or maybe not a property rights issue, but now people who are now on Mars, who forsaken, people on Earth view the people who left as forsakeners. You could call them the quote-unquote forsaken. That's a... that's really good, actually. The people... let me do this. Red, we'll do a circle here. The red planet. And then we'll have I'll make this blue, and we have Earth. And then it's not drawn to proportion at all. So we're going to have continent. Actually, those look pretty good as continents, just like makeshift bubble clouds. Okay, so here's the cool part. Black, there we go. Okay, so Earth... the 100 million people who, the top tier, people with the most amount of power went to Mars to colonize it. What if the people who are now on Mars need resources after maybe 100 or 200 years, and their forefathers on Mars did think this through, but there's a few factors that were not taken into account. Now Mars has to go to Earth for the resources that their forefathers failed to take into consideration. But the issue is, now these people, the children of Mars, who did not ask to be born on Mars, are now needing resources and going to Earth and asking for them. Earth, their people, are saying, no, 200 years ago you left, and what we need, it's like you left us without scientists. You left us without, with this, and this. It's like whoa. The people who would be left on Earth are factory workers. And what I mean by that are blue-collar workers. Those who are willing to get their hands dirty. You keep those people here. You think that everything's going to be turning into like a muck or anything, but the entire story could actually lean towards where Mars, everybody is wanting to go to, is actually a hellhole, because the people who go there are not those who create things. They're not those people who are entrepreneurs or skillful people. they're people with power, and power only given by the people on Earth. And then you realize, oh, this story is going so beautiful. Again, you first create your objectives, and then the world creates itself. Is that the people on Earth are actually very well off. Now, there's still a whole hell of a lot of issues that are happening on Earth. And there's maybe a few people who have a lot of power are not willing to give up so much power just for the sake of trying to go and seek out opportunities elsewhere. So the people who go to Mars are absolute fools in the long run. Short term, phenomenal experience. I think you need to do it maybe once. Go out and try it. Like that's not me to decide for what you do. But the people that you bring into the world, the children that are now being born on Mars, it might have been colonized, but maybe there's some issues in this part of the world, where in this part of Mars is actually a lot better. So the people who are on this side want to take resources from these people over here. And it's like, well, why is there any thieving on Mars? And they try to create their own... they try to use maybe a secular way of creating a constitution of well, here are the rules that you are or are not allowed to do. Maybe they open it up to being a not just democratic, but democracy. And then they realize that a full they're very smart people, but they don't have that much wisdom, which a lot of people on Earth may have. That the people on Earth may not be that intelligent, but they're able to live right. They're able to live appropriately. And they're actually just trying to do their best. Again, a lot of issues that may be happening, like there might be still rapes, murders, pillaging, plundering, riots, and so on and so forth, burning, kidnapping, slave trading, but at the same time, that's only allowed to that's only a small percentage of how many people are here. But on here, because there's a smaller few, there's more of a ripple effect between one person doing something. So if there's one pocket doing over here, or this, there's only one colonized place here, or there's maybe 4 total, one big one and then 3 minor ones. And because you have to decentralize and make certain that if one faculty, one facility blows up or something, it doesn't take everybody with them because they are in the vacuum of space. Now, whether or not you're able to terramorph it and make it there's an atmosphere on Mars, I don't know what that's going to be doing to Earth itself. Maybe that could be something that they try to do on Mars, but it doesn't work successfully. And maybe you could have it where initially it works out and they terraform, and then you realize that of all the issues that are happening on Earth, everything starts balancing out on Earth. So everything in the very beginning of Mars, is going wonderfully for the first 100 or 200 years. And then same right here. But after 100 to 200 years, everything starts to work itself out on Earth, because there's a magical nature, a magical thing about Earth is that it's a self-sustaining thing, that it just balances itself out. While on Mars, it's chaotic because people are trying to control their environment, while on planet Earth, the environment tends to take care of itself. It tends to self-regulate. And that could be where it's like human intervention is trying to do stuff here. A lot of phenomenal progress is being done here, but at the same time, they're forgetting a bunch of qualities that Earth was that allowed them to have what they had. That maybe of all the power, influence, and money, and maybe of all the intelligent people that go here and that are transmitting broadcasts to Earth of how amazing Mars is, maybe trying to paint a picture, then you can have, if there's a broadcast at all between maybe from Mars to Earth and then Earth to Mars, you could have it where there's a narrative that's being like a quote-unquote fake news, where everything is twisted in what they're trying to get the other people on the other planet to think about what the planet has. So if Earth is a phenomenal place, maybe it is a phenomenal place. Maybe it is, absolutely. Maybe there's some things that maybe all of your freedoms are taken away, but it's absolute paradise. But then that starts bringing up problems, which turns into a dystopia. Not a utopia, but a dystopia. And while there's a dystopia happening here on Earth, there's a lot more freedoms that are happening, which allows more like utopias to come about, more freedoms for other people in different pockets of the world to then start continuing to do what they do. So while Mars took away and quote, they didn't kill anybody, but quote unquote culling the removal of a specific set of people who have money, power, influence, or who have like a great intelligence, and all of their families, boom, went to Mars. They have many luxuries, but the issue is that they there's this heart about creating, or maybe there is a utopia that actually is on Mars that Earth. You see, I'm sort of looping now. I'm going back to there is a utopia, there isn't a utopia. So we need to have a timeline. So let's create a timeline. Okay, so here's the timeline. So the Great Ascension happens here. The resolution at the very end, I don't know what happens here. Maybe this is just a first book. Maybe it's a first comic book. Maybe it's a short story or a novel. Maybe it's a small movie that you could put on YouTube, or maybe a small 15-minute film of what would happen in the very first episode. And maybe you could have little short episodes like that. Maybe you have a small 5-team crewman with including actors and maybe like 5 total actors, or the people that are behind the scenes doing they're the actors as well. Who knows? So you could probably, let's just do this as a first episode. What I like about this is that there's so much that you could do with this. I would love to play with the aspect that both Earth, oh, not Phil, there we go. Phil. That Earth actually has a bunch of issues at the beginning because there's maybe a civil war, or maybe there's a bunch of people of very wealthy, rich people that just choose not to go, and they still stay here, while there's a bunch of people that go into Mars. And because maybe the people in the middle from Earth, the middle of the pack, are the ones that actually go to Mars. They are the ones that try to build Mars to be a utopia, and because of that, turning Mars into an actual utopia, Earth itself has a greater divide because there's now a greater discrepancy between the people who are at the very top and the people who are at the very bottom. And the question is, how do you want to play that out? And one thing you could just do is create a few people, create the scenario of maybe like a 20 years into the future, the ascension, and then you go down and you start doing a microcosm of people who are actually on Earth in their own house, in their own hometown, who are living there, and then you create that world around them, and you get to see, like, is it, I wouldn't say a great dystopia. Maybe they're not living in the city anymore. Maybe they actually have their own farmland. Maybe it's a higher tech place because it's 100 years in the future, and type of technology is more readily available. The type of technology that's very rare now. So the type of technology that's going to farmers, maybe that type of technology 100 years from now is more readily accessible, and they're more localized farmer individual people because there's more. Because 100,000 people just went, there's now just a rush maybe to go and grab some more land, whatever land there is. Maybe there's a few people that go to Antarctica, try to, like, quote unquote colonize that place, but because it's an ever shifting environment, maybe, I don't know, that's actually a pretty good question. Well, I'm at the North Pole and then the Antarctica. I did that the wrong place. Antarctica is the South Pole, I believe. Oh, water is so good. Okay. So, let's create the world, because I think that would be glorious to do. Transparent. There we go. Now we're going to bring this over here. fill this in like such. Okay. Whew, excuse me. Just trying to make this a little bit more. Keep the notes, but we don't have to. There we go. Say a little home and bring this over here. Let's bring it a little bit more down right there. Okay. So what I want to do now is build the family. So let's just build a traditional family. Right here. No. We gotta make this into black. Yeah. Family. So let's no. Main characters. Okay. So what are the type of characters that would be in this place? If it's 100 years in the future, maybe we can go into some place rural. Okay, maybe I just want to make certain that I actually have that definition correct. Because rural or urban, saying the word rural is a little bit difficult for me. I don't know why. Rural, define. Rural, of relating to the characteristic of the country. Relating to people who live in the country. Gotcha. Relating to farming and agricultural. So that's actually where I would love to start out. So we can go to other people around the globe, and maybe there's different people who we could do this like Game of Thrones, where not like there's nobody killing each other maybe yet. Maybe there's a gigantic war. If you're not a fan of war, I highly recommend staying away from both The Expanse and Aldnoah Zero. Those are. Oh, there's a bunch of wars and conflicts that happen because, well, our place is better than your place and stuff. So the main characters, what you could do is in rural America, a place in Japan, rural America, city Japan, is that you could have a bunch of people who are, Zimbabwe. I think that's the country, but I don't know what actual city would be in there. What city names are in Zimbabwe, but from Zimbabwe. I hope that's how Zimbabwe. I think that's how you spell it. Oh, that's how you spell it. Okay, I was close. I was pretty close. Zimbabwe, and you can have another place, a person in China, and one in Mexico City. So, Mexico City, and then one in China. And with these locations, and you could probably have somebody from the UK, maybe not the UK, maybe not France, Italy, maybe the outskirts of Italy. And there's a bunch of different relationships that each and every single person has. One great question that I have is, what type of life would each and every single person have? Because this is just too much information for me to process, the best thing to do would just be to, am I doing this right? Yeah, just take that over here. And we're just going to start with one family. Let's start with a rural family. So they'd probably be waking up and maybe having maybe they have an automated farm that's happening in the background. Maybe their mechanics and they have a few people that are monitoring most of the machines, if not all the machines, that are automatic. And the automatic machines in the countryside, maybe they have 100 acres of land, and within those 100 acres, there's automatic farming, and then maybe in their farm, they have a maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 story gigantic warehouse that is doing a bunch of specific. Oh. Why do they have to be enemies? Maybe there's a group of people who hate Mars. Maybe there's a distaste of what Mars has for Earth. Well, what if there's a few people that are trying to build a relationship between one another? That it's not going to Mars. It's the connection between another person. So you instead of highlighting the good or bad of trying to make a utopia out of something, it all comes down to the relationship that one person has with another. That within these two people, yeah. Okay. Trying to maximize the amount of space that I have. Yeah, that the relationship between these two people, that is what matters. That could be the direction of the entire thing. Is that it's not about Earth being better. It's not about Mars being better. It's not about any conflict between a culture. That the most important part and process is that any and all healing that happens within any conflicts that occur happen because maybe there is a few people on Earth and there's a few people in space. There's a few. There we go. There's a few people on Earth that are communicating with Mars, and if the people that are there's maybe a few people on Mars that are communicating with a few people on Earth that are actually helping the people that they live with, sharing technology that maybe any and all develop. And because of that connection, because of that development, because of that transmission and sharing, that is how maybe a bunch of the conflicts change. That it's not about the separation. Again, if you think, instead of thinking about, because I was very naive at the very beginning of this, and now I'm a bit more aware of the simple correlation between this and country divides. It's that their country divides are important because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I mean that. People will, it's like, if you give somebody an inch, they'll take a mile. As for an example, it's, if people are peacefully protesting, start to make a riot and burn something, and no one stops them, why should they expect to not be able to do that more so next time? Just as an example, same thing with a child. A child breaks a dish. No one stops them. Child continues breaking dishes. No one stops them. Child keeps breaking dishes. This is fun. And then just goes away and does whatever they want. Now, again, behavior that is ignored, what I learned from my sister, she's a really good mother, behavior that is ignored will usually cease from a child because the child is seeking that attention. And if you backlash, which again the same thing with a rioter, is like if they burn stuff, they're shitheads and you move on. But that's a really good behavioral aspect. Is that, I don't know where I was going with this, but going back to the last known point, like my checkpoint, is that both Mars and Earth are communicating with each other, but it's maybe like a few children or a few adults that are doing that. Maybe they're playing games with one another because that's the only thing that they actually have in common. That regardless of any divide on Earth, any country, origin, or anything, that what matters is that you're able to share and connect and give and grow with each other. And that could probably be a phenomenal tool and lesson, but some of the conflicts that can occur from that is that there are people who are trying to say to others, hey, these people are wicked, bad, stupid, or evil. Hey, these people are pompous, they're crap, they're stupid. So you can have people on both sides that are, again, for that type of hateful, and then any and all conflict that comes from any people who come into power. And because a lot of powerful people came here, what type of power structures would they have after not a year? After 20, 40, 50, 100 years, what will happen with their children, their grandchildren? Children usually are oblivious to the type of work and effort and sacrifices that were made for them to have the luxuries that they have today. And that's why first generation immigrants in America are often the most successful compared to anybody in America, is because you were born here in America, so you don't know what it's like to not live in America. That's just the prime example. You go to a different. If somebody goes to Japan, they have to be from America to Japan. You have to be self motivated to succeed, because you can't just live there and not learn the language. You can't just live there and not have a place of work. You can't just go somewhere. You have to actually be an active person. You have to be somebody who is willing to do the work to go there and thrive. Yeah, so again, you can have a bunch of people that come here and do that exact same thing, so maybe it's a paradise for the first, second, and third generation. But after the third generation, people start looking around of how good they have it and start looking at over here and say, like, wow, we have it so much better over here. Why don't we try to help out Mars? And maybe Mars, we can go through that conflict. So this entire thing can be wow, a sociological thing rather than personal. Psychological. I think there's two types of sci-fi or storytelling, I think. One is sociological, or where it's people interacting with people, or generational. I'm trying to think of the two names. There's like two definitions, two descriptions. One where there's generations between... let's go ahead and enlarge this thing. That's what she said. That was inappropriate. Oh wow, look at that unpixelated thing. Okay, so we're gonna do this, bring this over here. Okay, because I'm just working with this now. So, if we have Mars. No, I was actually wanting to do Earth. So if we have the people that are on Mars, you could have it where there's generation 1, 2, 3, and there's different people and you could go through each and every single type of family. You'd probably have maybe 100 legitimate, unique families with their own names, their own histories. You know how deep and in-depth this model would be? You know how many things you would have to take into consideration, which, again, a person who's by themselves, this is too far of a project I would be able to take under. And I would implore every single person out there that's listening, just go out there and what is something that you can create? What's a story that's something that you can actually tackle? Because what I just created, for me, it's way too complicated. This is way too complex. So whoever's listening, you might be able to take and run with this idea and make it your own and make it so much better, make it much more simple. So just creating that story, that aspect of how are things, etc. And then maybe generation 4 and generation 5. How many generations? 6. What if we only had 3 generations? There would be 3 total or 4 total seasons. Where, I would love that. There's actually 4. So the first one is the departure, maybe 20 years after the fact that they left, or maybe in the first, maybe in the first season, conflict. Yeah, initial conflict. The ascension in season 2. It starts out with the ascension. Start with the ascension. Bring this up a little bit. And so initial conflict in first one for them to create the ascension. Then the ascension happens 20 years later, and then in season 3 you can have it where there's the first they are in their second generation. So everybody in the second season are all dealing with each other, while in the third season, now this thing might go for maybe 7 seasons, where maybe it's like a 10-year block at a time. Maybe 20 years always skips after every single season, and you get to see a lot of things do unfurl. But if you do that, there's a lot of plot that you could be missing. You could probably turn this into like a 28 season if you really wanted to tell the story of all the people that are on Earth and all the people that are on Mars, and seeing how that relationship plays out. And if Mars is or isn't successful, how are they able to go to now Venus, Mercury, Pluto? Well, I mean, not Pluto, but Jupiter. Would there be a way to actually make or terramorph, colonize a different planet within our solar system? That would be rather interesting. What would be the objectives? Why would they try to do that while not on Mars? That could be a discussion that could be had, but we're just going to go with this one. So we have the second generation, and then the third generation. Actually, the second generation is going to be the second season. Transparent. There we go. There we go. And then the third generation is going to be here. And then you have the fourth generation. Excuse me. Yeah. So maybe in the fourth season of this entire process is that it's more of harmonic repetition. Okay, no, I like that. I like that phrase a whole heck of a lot better. So let's say harmonic repetition. Let's go with that. Cut and paste. Well, not copy and paste, but move. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. It's all professional. Okay, so you have the initial conflict as to why they would want to actually move to Mars in the first place. I don't want to do that one. Yeah, move to Mars in the first place. And then the second season, you can actually have it where the ascension happens. Now there's a divide, or there's initial communication between the two, and maybe there's a conflict as to why they would either want to paint a picture, make maybe false news, false narratives, maybe try to say how privileged we are, and let's try to help help Earth because they're so poor and stupid. Maybe there's a little conflict here that just starts rising up, and then the third generation, the people here, it's like, why do we even need Mars to begin with? But there's still people from Earth that are communicating with Mars because they're just best friends playing a video game online. And maybe that from that video game, you get to see that there's just maybe in 2, 3, 4, 5 different families, you get to see how it's like, why are we fighting with them? It's kind of stupid. And then in the fourth generation, you see this harmony of people who are wanting to either leave Earth or leave Mars, and you have a decision for them either to go from one place to the other. It looks like kind of like a basketball. Kind of a messed up basketball, but a basketball. That actually looks like a croquet bar. No, not croquet. Rolling pin thingy. I don't know what it's called. The thing where you roll it up the arcade machine and then you get like 58 points, 100 points, 20, 10, 5. Oh man, it's been a while since I played that game. Chutes and ladders. That has to be it. So, from start to finish, let's kind of wrap this up. So we initially started with an idea of, well, not really an idea of actually, yeah, I to start out with an idea of this utopia people trying to go towards of like, oh, we'll go and colonize Mars and it will be this grand, magnificent thing. But again, it will deteriorate in time or continue. And it's one of those like, well, the reason that it would continue is because within ourselves we have allowed that to happen, that expression of it. Ooh, now that actually changed my perspective. Just the way I said that changed my perspective a little bit. That's actually dynamically it changed it a lot. I'm kind of like I'm speechless now actually, because maybe I had it all wrong to begin with. Maybe I don't know, the way that I said it just kind of stunned me for a bit. It's crazy. Okay, so just kind of getting pissed off, upset about of the type of quote unquote evils that are in our own world. I use it on my own personal examples. And then from there, starting to create an entire storyline. And then because we said, whoa, before we go any further, let's make certain that we have our objectives of what we want to create first. And then once we have our objectives, then we can go here and start creating the world that we want to create. And then once we did that, we started creating these little stories that could or could not happen, little conflicts or progressions, reasons, motivations as to why certain people would want to do it, maybe the ideas of certain places all around, because we are living in such a global place. Maybe the fact that we're doing it globally is the wrong perspective. Maybe like in the anime Aldnoah.0, they actually only focus on Japan. That's a tear. Yeah, they only focus on Japan, and 3 or 5 people from Japan and 3 or 5 people from Mars, but there's like hundreds of millions of people from Mars that are trying to do things with Earth, and hundreds of millions of people from Earth that are trying to do things with from Earth to Mars. Conflict and war, and I'm not giving any spoilers alert away, because that's literally within the first 5 to 10 minutes. What specifically? That's something I won't say, but there we go. So maybe, again, just going about it, maybe we shouldn't try to do it all from one place. Maybe we could just pick a location. I say just America because I'm biased that way. Maybe some family that's in rural America, and maybe one of their children, the mother and father, wants to go into a war, wants to go into the Marines, or has been in the Marines, the Space Marines, that actually has been legitimized. It's an actual now branch of the military, and the Space Marines are actually the ones that are a defense force, because they have to make certain that the people who are from Mars will not do anything. But the people from Mars actually maybe have bombed Earth because because of a miscalculation, or Mars understood that what needs to happen is that Mars needs to be cold just a little bit, because they have all their science behind them. Because they don't have the correct values. Because they are strictly scientists, they're doing what is scientifically good without taking the moral ramification that is beyond using science itself. And that's one thing that can actually create a divide, where people on Mars are actually technologically more advanced, and going through, and now there's people are trying to say, like, no, we're going to create a wall here. Whoa, there we go. So, and this is something that this is an entire plot in of itself. This could be the 4 seasons, literally, of conflicts after conflicts after conflicts of just these type of things happening, and just allowing the story to progress. And the best way to progress it is pick a family, pick a location, pick their lifestyle, how they live. In Noah.0, they actually started with a brother and a sister who are both part of the military. And again, not getting into the great details, but one of them is more competent than the other. But it's not that they're not both competent. One's just more laser focused, dull and dumb. Not dull and dumb, just very dull as a character, but very fantastic with what they do. And the other one is very, like, emotional and not able to, is not as competent, but they're still in the same battle. So you get to see a lot of differences that happen within that, and the relationship of one trying to save the other and the other trying to save the other one. So trying to save each other or save other people, so on and so forth. So it's actually kind of cool that way. It's I'd actually love to mimic Aldno Zero and actually swap the brother and sister of who's competent, and change their characteristics. One might be a little bit more of withdrawn and emotionless, but still emotional, but just doesn't express their emotions, isn't allowed to be feminine because of the war that they may be perpetuated. And then the guy is just like happy-go-lucky, but is very emotional and gets himself into a bunch of trouble. But with that trouble, he gets lucky a lot, but he also does not get lucky a lot. So it's one of those, like, he's the one who could probably be the greatest hero, but needs his sister to be the one that can back him up. And then when you see that, you get to see how freaking competent that she is, actually helping him. And then he, like, gets it into his thick head that, hey, what the hell am I doing? I need to start taking consideration with other people. And then he, as the brother, helps the sister get out of her own shell, so she can be more, vibrant, maybe not as feminine, maybe enjoying her time, but just vocalizing, expressing herself. And then that's how she's able to open up and make those little more risky actions on the battlefield, maybe during space, maybe if they land on Mars and they're doing a campaign and saying, like, hey, everybody, like, back up here. And she, like, opens up a little bit more on the risky side, and maybe it messes her up a little bit, but she continues practicing to be a bit more risky, and from that she becomes even more phenomenal. And because the other guy, the guy who initially was the quote-unquote hero, he backs up a little bit, and then she shines a little bit, and now he is backing her up on her adventure, on whatever activity. Maybe they're like captain and lieutenant, maybe for different squadrons. Maybe they're both captains for different squadrons. This is awesome. This is a really cool way of looking at it. So, and that maybe again, they're all just starting from a rural family, and maybe they both realize that the war that they fought that were up here, the shrapnel and things, actually fell down to their homeland, to their own home. They don't know what happened, and they see what happens, and they have the projections of where the shrapnel or wherever the thing that they try to blow up before it actually hit their planet, and everything just fell on top of their family's home. They think that the family died, and it's like, you know what? The one thing, like maybe the guy comes in, and maybe because the sister has just started to feel emotions and like opened up, she just doesn't know how to handle herself. The brother comes in and starts to actually help her and like get her focused on the mission, and just maybe not slaps her, but like holds her, and it's like, what we need you to do is get onto this. We don't know what happened. Best case scenario, they're still alive. Worst case scenario, you now have a greater reason for fighting. Boom, right there. Now you have a greater development as to why people from Earth would want to destroy the people from Mars. Even though I talked about how there's you could do this real world, but if there's an actual war that's happening between the two, and there's a bunch of mess, this one activity, it's like, guys, we need to go over here and stop them. Not maybe destroy them, but stop them. What they've been doing, look at that, beep, beep, boop. There we go. Stop them and stuff. So then you could have a cool dynamic where most animes you don't really get to see a brother and sister in combat in a military, maybe even at the same rank. Maybe one is a captain, one is a lieutenant, or not a lieutenant, one who is a general who was able to make all those calculations. And maybe she's not a general, maybe she's a captain, and she's able. Well, if you're a captain, you'd have to actually be out in the field doing the work, and you have your own squadron, not your squadron, but you have your own battalion that you're actually managing. So maybe one is a squadron leader, maybe one is a first sergeant, and then the other one is a lieutenant. And they both communicate. They're in different squadrons, they're in different things, but maybe because of all the clashes and battles that happen, maybe two of the battalions have their forces dwindle a little bit, and they actually have to form into one. Not in the family, but they form into one full battalion, and they have become and they're working with each other. Maybe they didn't like each other at the beginning, but they're still family and they still care for each other, and that's maybe one way that they rekindle their their family, like their love for each other that they had. There's a fly on that. While they used to have on Earth. But maybe they had different reasons as to like, oh, Earth is the best, or Mars is the best, and that's actually one great reason, like the politics at the dinner table, and that's what actually separated their divide at the home, and their mother and father just wishes that they would be family again, and maybe that's one of the last wishes that they had for both of them, and as they remember, and maybe the mother and the father did die from all that shrapnel that hit the planet, and then of the brother and sister that are actually had all that conflict of like, oh, Mars or Earth is better, or again something that's maybe political but related to the story that's not really related to our own story. So it's like there's a great divide and it just splits them. It's just like, shut up, and it's like, no, you shut up, and there's just this division. And one of the last things that the mother and father both told the brother and sister is, maybe the mother went to the son and the father went to the daughter and said, hey, I just want you two to be family. That's the most important thing in this world. And after the family died, after their parents died, maybe on the battlefield, maybe a little bit after that, maybe there's another battle, they're still in the war, but after they get through that battle, after the brother says to the sister, hey, get over it. Now you have, worst case scenario, you now have a better reason for fighting. Get out there and make it work. And then it's like she kind of like has a quote-unquote small panic attack, takes a deep breath. Okay, and then she gets on the ball and she's just nailing it and calling out orders, and she's like hyper focused with what she's doing, and the brother's like trying to take out the execute the orders that she gives, and they're both on top of it. They both come together, and that's how they come together as a family. While back at home, they just no. So that's one cool way I think you could do it. Again, one great way of creating stories that I found out is just focus on the characters first. Their story, their relationship, why it works one way, why doesn't it work? And then you mix that with the world that you created, and from that world, you get to see of all the little interesting things that happen. And I love the idea of, let me remove all this, of, I'm going to type this all out because this was a really cool idea, and after this I'm going to be done. So the brother and sister, based off ald Noah.0, but switched temperamentally. So you get the brother is the sister and the sister is the brother. Of how they act, how they communicate. Switched. That's weird. Switched permanently. Temperamentally. Brother is outgoing. Sister is reserved. Brother and sister came from rural farming home. Brother is first sergeant. Sister is captain. Brother is first sergeant. Sister is captain. Each in their own battalion in space. They had a falling out at home years ago before they both left for Space Force. What happens is mother talks to son, father talks to daughter on how they would like them to continue to on how family is most important. After a battle in space, shrapnel falls onto their home. They don't know that their parents died yet. Brother and sister are now in one battalion during brother and sister. So I'm going to read all of this at the very end. So the brother and sister have their battalions, their separate battalions, reduced in numbers and are combined into one. After battle in space, shrapnel falls onto their home. They don't know that their parents are dead yet. Brother gets a hold of his sister and says, worst case scenario, you have a greater reason. Yeah, don't let. Worst case scenario, you have a greater reason to fight. So I don't know. Again, at first in my head, it sounded amazing, but if I type it out, it just doesn't have that type of ring. It kind of says like, it's like a more of a joke. Like, are you really serious? That's what you're saying to me? It's not inspiring. So, no. Brother gets a hold of sister, motivating her to continue. So again, not really dialogue. Dialogue is more of whatever is in the moment, and that changes. Let's just get the overarching thing here. So a brother gets a hold of his sister, motivating her to continue to fight. Sister takes the helm, and brother executes her orders. Ranks. From that, they bond from the battles and realize the value of family. Yeah. So you could even just end it off right there. So you could have it where it continues, where there's another division, where after they realize that the family actually matters, you get to see that maybe during the battle they both get separated during maybe one gets captured, maybe the brother gets captured, maybe the sister gets captured, and it's now the brother's duty to take the helm as the captain. Now I know that's not the responsibility of the lieutenant is, but maybe the brother, maybe one's a lieutenant and one is a first lieutenant and then one's a captain. That way when see, all these little details will change things, so it's important to get all the facts in order, then you can start executing the actions. So maybe he is a first lieutenant and she is a captain. She gets kidnapped by the enemy from Mars, and he, as in a first lieutenant, takes hold of, is now the ranking officer that is executing all the orders. But what he does is you know what? Or maybe as the first sergeant, you see, as a first sergeant, you have a lot of duties and responsibilities, and going out and trying to save your sister during a war is the wrong action, because you're probably going to get 10, 100, 1,000 people dead because you wanted to go save this one person. Maybe because their battalion was destroyed and the sister was taken in as prisoner, to be tortured and taken resources, trying to get some secrets from the enemy, that the brother goes all commando and Rambo on their butts, maybe with a few of his most closest allies, because maybe he is more of a, I'm not going to say a drunkard, but maybe a person who always gets into fights. That ragtag. He has friends who are the ragtag team, who are able to, who all have unique skill sets and are the ones that are willing and able to go into a building and clear it and save the princess. And this is one of those save the princess moments, but it's his sister. And yeah, you could do a lot with this. And then even after that, maybe the sister gives them false information, and from the false information that was given, because she has to roll a 20, not theoretically. I'm trying to think of what that word is. It's I'm using it as an analogy. Rolling a 20 figuratively. That's the word I'm thinking about. So maybe she tries to do a lot of charismatic rolls of a 20, trying to make a critical, that she's trying to succeed at bluffing and saying okay, fine, yeah, here's the information. Please don't torture me. And then gives them false information that looks legitimate, and then it actually is going to be harming Mars, or harming their ranks, harming the enemy, rather than helping them. And maybe they go out and test it, or at least make certain that the information is valid before they actually do anything with it, because they're not stupid. And with that, they come back, they torture her, maybe they chop off a finger or two, and maybe they punch her a lot in the face and the gut, and it's just oh, what the hell's happening here? It's torture porn. And then the brother is wanting to help her, but he can't, because he's literally outgunned and will die. So he's holding himself back, and he's he's grasping his hand or something, and it's bleeding because he's pulling the skin off, because he's so angry that he can't do anything about it. And After he witnesses the entire thing, he rescues his sister with the guys because they weren't in there yet. Maybe one of the guys actually stopped him from going in action because the brother's friends knew that he would die. It's like, this is a suicide mission. You can't go save her. We have to wait, or you need to close your eyes and shut your eyes and close your ears, or other way, close your eyes, shut your eyes and close your ears. One of those things. And he tries but can still hear, and that's one of the issues of that they try to overcome, that she has to be put into a medical facility, and from that medical facility, after there's another war that happens between the two, you could have it where there's back at main base, wherever that is, the sister is now there healing, but maybe 12, 24, 72 hours later, she comes out of recovery, but the main brother is going for not a suicide mission, but going for like a final straw. And it becomes very tricky that the sister actually wakes up, not in the nick of time, like she's awake and overhears that this battalion that she knows his brother would be in asks if her brother is there. They say, well, we can't confirm that information. She says, okay, well, that you just confirmed that he is, and we can't. She sneaks out of the medical facility and rushes to command and says, like, I am ready and able to take control of this situation. And there's a few other captains that are there. Oh shit, we're now getting into something that's really cool. Now, because the captain rushes in there, maybe she's like a general or something, it's just like somebody who's really high ranking, and maybe the other guy, the brother is not a first sergeant, but maybe a general, not a general, but like a master sergeant, a master first sergeant, whatever the top ranking non-commissioned officer is. And or maybe they're both generals, but the brother is just the 1 star below. And the brother went on for this one mission that he had to be there in person in the ship that was going to be going and doing it, or be in space commanding it because of communication delays. Because maybe on Earth it's about a 5, 10, 20-second delay, and from that they have to do a lot of calculations and models and stuff just to even predict of where they should go. While being in space, those 5, 10 seconds of delay can kill an entire fleet, and miscalculation can destroy the entire armada battle and stuff. So while she's here, maybe they're both. Let me do this. Delete. Brother is 2-star general. Sister is 4-star. Yeah. That way, they both have authority, they both have great ranking, but the sister outranks the brother. And that's not really an issue. Maybe it's an issue, and that's one way and one thing that they... Wait. There we go. Let me copy, because I want to get rid of that thing on the Earth. Sounds weird. Copy. Paste. There we go. Paste. Now I'm going to remove this section. Again, doing some problem solving. Copy. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. That worked. Okay. So, getting back to where we were. Now the sister who is out here at command, she's still bruised, and she's still she's cleaned up and has stitches and stuff, but she's still sick, weak, and maimed. She is injured. But she takes control of the situation. She rushes in there as a 4-star general. There's a few captains that say, like, excuse me, ma'am, you can't be here. You need to go to the medical facility. And the sister lays down the law in front of the entire Central Intelligence Agency, not the CIA, but like the central hub of the entire battle, and of all the captains, lieutenants, and generals, and high-ranking officials. She says in front of everybody, I am a 4-star general. I'm taking my position. You are relieved from your duty. You may resume tasks somewhere else. And she just lays down the law. Like, you will not do this. I am capable. I am making the decision. I am your ranking officer. You will do as commanded. But she doesn't do it as like, I'm gonna, like, oh my gosh, like snap the fingers. Like, she says it as an authority figure, like however that would be in that situation to command authority. And the higher ranking officer who said, like, you need to go sit down, man, maybe like a 1 or 2 star, maybe 3-star general, because because the sister is a 4-star. Maybe the 3-star general is like, excuse me, ma'am, it's like, excuse me, ma'am, but you need to be going back to the go back to medical bay. And she's like, I am your ranking officer. You will this is a lawful command, and I will be taking the reins of this mission. Do you understand? She says, yes, ma'am. And she's probably like, okay. And then she takes command, and with authority and like a strong posture, she gets up in front of like a few hundred people who are all having all these missions, kind of like NASA. And she says and commands to everybody that this is what we're going to be doing. You, what's going on? What's over here? What's this? And she just lays down the law. It's amazing. You could have it where like all of this conflict of all this strife of her actually finally getting out and being a bit more, because she was probably a behind the scenes type of person, but because of her experience with her brother and the family relations and having gone through torture and stuff, it's like, you know what? I don't want to be silent anymore. She gets up there and commands authority. Bam! That would be amazing. And then after she commands authority, you could probably, like, if this was an animation or something, or like a visual, you could see it where she's standing there with authority, and while people are focusing on their task, you could tell that she's weak and she's trying to put up a front. We got to do this. And then one of the 2-star general the 3rd-star general who said, like, ma'am, you need to go back to medical bay. She helps the 4-star general back up and like make certain that she's there to as a posture, because the entire facility, all hundreds of high-ranking officers who are doing all the logistics and all the people who are working there, like, you need to be on top of a ball. You need to, like, the 3rd-star general is to make certain that the 4-star general who's running the entire thing has her posture and looks like she has an authority, so maybe is standing right behind her so she can rest a little bit, or like push her up against the railing just a little bit, or maybe even bring up a chair or something to, brace herself, because she's still freaking tired and very ill, but she's still capable at the same time. And you can just see, like, oh, she's digging deep. deep digging. And then from all those commands, you get to see that the brother is the 2-star general. Brother is actually going to Mars, or commanding all the information up here, and within the relay between brother and sister, they have a... Now, I don't think this would be smart to do, but I think this would be a phenomenal little twist. All their backs up are against a wall, the resources are depleting, Mars is going full frontal assault onto Earth. Earth is trying to send whatever resources that they can, or whatever information and strategies that they can, but the brother and the sister down here, the brother's up here, commanding, that they say to each other, or like the sister comes up with an idea, or the brother comes up with an idea, and the brother comes up with an idea back to headquarters where the sister is, and it's like, get me communication with General, whatever her name is, sister, with my sister. And it's like, get me communication with my with whatever her actual name is. And then it's like, I'm sorry, but there's not enough. We get and one of the people who's taken control, or taken the commands from the brother interrupts them and says, get me on the horn with my, or get me on the line with my sister. And then it's like, yes, sir. And so it's like, again, another commanding of authority, and then they communicate something that they, something silly and stupid, but would be freaking awesome as a payoff, because they're brother and sister. They talk about something that happened in their past, a strategy that they're going to be formulating to defeat Mars, because of a childhood experience that, of maybe like hide and seek, maybe it was like hide and seek, or maybe whatever game that they used to play, or like of tag or something, and again, whatever that thing is, and maybe you can even show it on the very first moments, like one of the very first episodes of the entire series or season or whatever, under the entire series, and you get to see that they develop a plan in space and on Earth, brother and sister, on something that they both experienced when they were a kid, playing games, or again a very specific moment in their childhood, to defeat Mars. Take that, Mars! Boom! Boom! Victory for Earth. Woo! We did it! We did it. We freaking did it, guys. We did it. I just want to let you know, we did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hey, did it. We did it. Oh my gosh, we did it. That's an amazing storyline. Wow. That is awesome. Okay. Whew. Dang. That was an hour and 30 minutes. I was trying to just get to an hour, but once I hit an hour, I really had like a second wind going. Like, I could probably go for another 2 or 3 hours, but it's getting late and I got to do stuff in the morning as well. So doing these twice a day is really helpful. One for more algorithmic creation of actual codes, and then a second in the afternoon, or in the evening, specifically in the evening, where creating stories, plots, scenarios, ideas, running with it. But the most important of everything that we just did, of that entire story that we just created, that actually looks like a person. Here's the nose, here's the mouth, here are the eyebrows or eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that. Okay. See, that's an amazing story, man. Wow. And you could create an entire anime. You can create an entire series based off that one thing. And that's just with a brother and a sister from a rural part of America. What about a family or a citizen from Japan? What about a father and a brother who go into battle in the exact same way? Maybe in Mexico City, there's a son who goes into the same war, and then he has a story, and he comes back to his family, and his family had real world scenarios that were happening in Mexico City that he wished he could have just more easily gone to space or something. Same with China, outskirts of Italy. It's just like different backgrounds, different things for different people. But that was just for one relationship. That was awesome. That was my throat is dry a bit. My throat is a bit dry. Fortunately, I had a bit of water here. That was awesome. Okay. With that being said, please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below, because I'd love to hear from you. What are some ideas that you can come up with? What are some characters that you think would work well in this type of scenario, where who would be a villain from Mars? Who could be a possible villain from Earth? Maybe Earth is not as good as it appears. Maybe it's not the innocent one. Maybe they started the entire thing, but Mars is just going overboard, and then the majority of, or like maybe Earth instigated it. Maybe it was just one person on Earth who instigated it, maybe not even on purpose, maybe by accident. So again, going through that detail, like what are some ideas that you can come up with, like with this one subject? Would it be like with another planet, maybe on, or what about the moon? Is there any colonization on moon? Is it a place of much conflict? Are they trying to destroy it? Is it destroyed by default? Is it destroyed as a warning? Is it destroyed by accident? Maybe it goes out of orbit. If it goes out of orbit, then a bunch of issues can happen from there on Earth in itself, and maybe there's a bunch of cruddy things that are happening on Earth because of the satellite moon not being in orbit. Yeah, that's just terrifying. But what would happen that maybe the moon would still be there, but the moon could be the place of maybe the base of operations while there's a combat between, like, the moon is here, but the only issue is that the moon can only be in position in ideal orbit a certain percentage of the amount of time, but when it is, it's in optimal space. While on here, it would go around, it would still be closer. Well, not really. So it'd probably be having a base. All the operations that would happen on Earth would actually happen on the moon. That would be very interesting of an idea. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. Oh, man. Whew. Man, okay. So please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hitting that like button, smashing that like button is one of the most helpful things that you can do, because that helps the algorithm on YouTube. Thank you very much for being a part of this, and most importantly, please enjoy the rest of your day. Now, actually, world-class bullshitters, he always says something at the very end that's always phenomenal, is be excellent to each other. And it's like, I'd love to say something like that. I would love to have a sincere thing that, A, is unique. I don't want to use his own phrase. It's a phenomenal phrase, and I'm certain that he would be more than happy to let me say the exact same thing, but I don't want to say the exact same thing. I try to find something a little bit different. But something that I can say with sincerity, that's not just trying to say something that sounds cool or new or sounds nice. I want to say something that is sincere. The most sincere thing that I can say right now is enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your morning. Just enjoy your day. A lot of good things happen when you can enjoy stuff. Regardless of what happens in your day, you can enjoy it. Yeah. I'll leave it off there. Thank you very much. Bye. See you next time.